I just want to correct you though. This point have lost over 130 pounds
I love the
and
correction.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. They said 1 to 5 years was like my limit on life.
When you say you couldn't go to sleep, you would lay there and you just,
Apparently when your heart is failing that like you can't lay flat. But I had about 7 liters of pleural fluid on my lungs, and that was the reason why I wasn't able to breathe.
wow, this is a heavy story.
In only 2 weeks on all fruit, and my circulation had dramatically improved. And I'm telling him I'm on an all fruit diet and I'm healing myself. He reads my EKG. This is the cleanest one you've ever had. I'm eating all fruit. Like that's it. That's all. You might want to throw in a steak at least once a week.
What? Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching The Healthy Alternative. Today we have a special guest I can barely see right now. I'm being blinded. Lena the Light is here with us today, and I am so appreciative. We're going to talk a little bit about her health and wellness journey, what she experienced, the ups, the downs, how she ultimately resolved her issues, where she looks to go in the future with her health and wellness. So if you're interested in hearing all about that, it's coming up next. Stay tuned. All right, Lena, thank you for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Chris?
I'm having a great day. I got a chance to go check on my garden. It's dying because the sun is burning it up and I don't water it
Oh
enough.
no.
But we're still hanging in there. Other than that, I'm having a great day. So what I like to do to kind of jump these calls off is just to get to know you a little bit, but also I want to highlight some of the main points that you've experienced. Like, what are some of the major things that you've overcome? And the point of this is basically to give the ones that are listening kind of like bullet points. Like, why should I listen to this interview? Am I dealing with the same issues she's dealing with? Like, are we similar? Because when people recognize somebody who's in a similar place and overcome something, then they feel kind of like empowered. So, can you share
Okay.
with us just the highlights? Okay. I don't want you to
All right.
go into no detail, just the highlights of
Yeah.
what you've kind of experienced recently.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure and had an ejection fraction of 15% in March 2024.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the major thing hurdle that you were looking to overcome.
Absolutely. And pretty much being told that I would have a year. They said 1 to 5 years was like my limit on life at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Ooh, that's a lot to unpack. Okay, you hit us with the haymaker coming out the gate. All right, so let's go back then and let's look at first of all that moment or that time frame when you originally got the diagnosis. Can you just speak to what was going on in your life or in your mind, mentally, physically? Did you expect this? Like, tell us about that experience.
Absolutely. So, I was a moderately active person, and at the time that this happened, the only symptom that I was actually experiencing was shortness of breath. Like one Thursday when I leave work, I was slightly winded going to my car. Friday, a little bit more. Saturday, progressively worse. Sunday, by Monday, I was going to the ER because
Hmm.
I couldn't even stand up without feeling like I needed to go to sleep, but I also couldn't lay down and go to sleep.
So when you say you couldn't go to sleep, you would lay there and you just couldn't.
I couldn't even lay down, Chris.
Uh,
Like when your heart is, and I didn't know this, but apparently when your heart is failing, that like you can't lay flat. Like I had couch cushion pillows so I can kind of sit up in bed. And yeah, I could not sleep. I was restless, but I also couldn't move too much because I could barely breathe. I felt like I was suffocating.
wow. And all of this from what you say came pretty much came out of nowhere. You didn't expect it. It
Mm,
wasn't like they were already monitoring you for something and it's been getting progressively worse.
no, I was not
Okay.
being monitored for anything. Yeah.
Wow. What did that do to you mentally?
Mentally, I felt like it was the end of the world. I felt like I was losing my life, like maybe I had a heart attack or something had transpired. I've always had hypertension. I've always had higher blood pressure. So, and in my head, I'm like, maybe some cardiac event took place that I don't know about. But also, what if I only have bronchitis and I'm just being dramatic? I didn't know. I wasn't really sure.
Yeah.
But that's where my mind was.
It didn't sound like you were being dramatic.
No.
Um, maybe that's wishful thinking, right? Like
Yes.
you go on
Right.
Google and you're like, here are my
Yes.
symptoms, right? Yeah. So you said Monday you ended up in the ER, and so what was that? Was that the first time that you had like gone to the hospital or under those circumstances?
Yeah, pretty much. That was the first time that I had gone to the hospital since I was like a teenager. So yeah, I had no idea. And the first thing that I hear, I mean, I can barely say my name. To go from the car inside of the ER doors, I can barely say my name. I'm panting, I'm leaned over, I can barely breathe, and all I hear is the triage nurse saying cardiac triage to ER. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean cardiac triage? What's going on? And now
Right.
I'm even more excited.
That's scary.
It
Like
was very scary.
that's very scary. So what exactly when because like I've can you kind of describe congestive heart failure based on your experience and what you know?
Absolutely. So pretty much what I learned that congestive heart failure is um for me anyway, I can't speak for everyone, but I had about 7 liters of pleural fluid on my lungs, and that was the reason why I wasn't able to breathe. My heart, my ejection fraction, a normal healthy person would be anywhere between like 60 to 75% of ejection fraction, whereas mine was at 15%. So there was like my heart was it was beating very shallow, it wasn't doing a full, beat. It was kind of
Mm.
like just, and my left ventricle was also slightly enlarged per my first echocardiogram. So there was a few things going on. I can say that going through congestive heart failure, you feel very weak. My legs felt very heavy. Like I thankfully lived on the first floor at the time, but there was no way if I had to go up steps that I would have made it.
Mm.
It feels like you're drowning essentially.
I
But
mean, that's what kind of was happening, like internally.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, what a man. So when you went to the ER that first time, what did they do for you? Did they drain the fluid? And
Yep. I was in the hospital for a full week. And my first day pretty much was just trying to get my blood pressure lowered. Um, the following days, I got chest x-rays every day. They figured out there was a lot of fluid in my pleural cavity. So I had to get a thoracentesis where they insert a hair-like needle into that pleural cavity to drain the fluid out. They
Mhm.
were successfully able to drain about 4 liters of the fluid off.
Wow.
Right, of 7. And they pretty much said, because your body does react to something like that. So as that fluid is coming out, now you have more lung space available, which means it's almost like taking that first breath after coming up from pretty much being underwater.
Hmm.
And it does make you choke like really bad. So they did it until I was choking so bad that they had to stop it.
Okay.
They did as much as they could. But before I left the hospital, pretty much they also put you on like a water pill to drain it. And I had no fluid on my lungs at all by the time I left.
Okay. And so, wow. See, this is the reason why, like, for those who have been watching me for a while, this is the reason why I do say that the MDs have a job, an important job that they do. And even though I'm into natural health and wellness and
Oh yeah.
preventative measures, when something like this happens, it's good to be able to have that technology and that skill set, to be able to give relief instantly, right? So you pretty much felt when you came out of the hospital, what was your recovery time like? How did you feel?
Oh, I felt horrible. I felt worse coming out of the hospital than I actually felt before any of this transpired. Um, I was on 5 different medications that literally, if I go from sitting to standing, I felt like I was going to pass out. My
Mm,
circulation was absolutely horrible. I couldn't walk for more than 5 minutes without not feeling winded. I don't feel winded at this point, but just feeling tired. Like I did not have any energy.
mm,
And that's why I decided that I needed to heal myself because there was no way. I felt like all of the research that I did said, yes, if you're diagnosed with congestive heart failure, there's this really high percentage of a chance that you're not going to make it past 5 years.
mm,
So that actually prompted me to look at one of my friends that I remember visiting in the hospital after she got her pacemaker installed or, surgically installed in her heart. And I looked her up and we were actually really good friends. And I saw that she passed away from this same
oh,
disease 2 years prior. So I was absolutely devastated. I mean, friends they grow apart, but I remember seeing pictures of her skiing and doing all of these great things. I never would have thought that that would have been the end for her just that quick.
mm,
And when I say that it broke my heart, but it made me determined to figure out how I can remedy this for myself.
yeah.
Because that's another thing is I agree 1,000% with holistic because when you ask the doctor, when I asked the doctor myself, so how do I fix this? So how do I reverse heart failure? This is what I'm reading that it's possible, but how do I do that? They're looking at me like you're probably going to have to get a pacemaker put in.
Mm,
You'll figure it out over time, but there's no easy fix for this. And I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that that was the case, you know?
wow. This is a heavy story. Like,
It's very,
and your friend that passed was around your age?
she was around my age, yes.
Wow. Um, do you is I younger people having pacemaker, that's completely unfamiliar to me.
Hmm.
Younger people having like heart failure and stuff like that, that's really unfamiliar. Have you found that it's more common? Are other people having this
Yes.
issue around?
Yeah. Yes, I am. So I made a post when I got my echocardiogram, the updated results. And when I shared that on TikTok, that post went viral. Well, I actually discovered that there are people that I know they're currently going through heart failure right now that are literally my age. Like, and there's more of them than I thought was
Mm.
even a thing. It's just there's not a lot of people talking about it.
Oh, well, we're definitely going to talk about it today. I'm gonna do my best to really dig into this because I've had people on my show with congestive heart failure, 60, you know, j around that age, like 50 to probably 70 years old. And we've heard some amazing stories of reversing it, right? Which that's what I'm all about. But I never, you know what? You're the second person to kind of shock me because I had a nurse come on my show and she did hospice care and she would talk about like all these people in their 30s getting cancer and all this type of stuff. And so it's obviously becoming a trend where much younger people are dealing with like what I would consider like more elder diseases.
Yeah.
Before we get into like what you kind of did to reverse this and all of that, I want to take a second and see if we can maybe like dig into your past a little bit because
Sure.
one thing I do know about health and wellness or the way the body works is even though it feels like it sprung on you, it didn't just you weren't just a
That's
perfectly
right.
healthy person and just all of a sudden. So you said you're pretty active. Did you used to play sports or anything like that?
So let me like say, when I say I was pretty active, meaning like at the time I was trying to lose weight.
Okay.
And I was probably around, and I can't say for sure because I was not standing on the scale, but I was probably around 300 pounds.
Okay.
So, and I'm short. I'm 5'3.5" on my tallest day. So it's
You
not
said
like
your
I
tallest day.
on my tallest day, I'm five 3.5. So
Okay.
like I know that I was overweight. I did have hypertension. I was on a high blood pressure medicine. I maybe didn't take it for a month because my husband and I had just moved back to Tampa. So, we were in a transitional period, but the symptoms that I was experiencing for, I guess, a little longer leading up to my diagnosis were not symptoms that they talk about. They were symptoms that they told me that I was experiencing after I was diagnosed. Like I had a loss of appetite. I had dropped like 20 pounds in maybe 2 weeks.
Mm,
Um, like these are things that are shocking that if I was going to the doctor the way that I should have been because I had insurance, then I would have known. But like most Americans, I was busy going to work and taking care of home versus taking care of myself.
hmm.
And so, and I wasn't paying attention to holistic, videos online. I wasn't paying attention to the signs. I was just the living life. And so yeah, like there's definitely there was so many warning signs that I completely ignored.
Hmm.
Frequent urination at night. Obviously my blood sugar was out of range. Like why do I have to urinate every 30 minutes all night long? Um, and then there was other signs as well. Like I knew that I had a blood sugar regulation, insulin resistance, if you want to call it. My waist was wider. I wasn't like, the typical shape. I was more round.
Hmm.
And and there was other things as well that I guess I just completely ignored at the time.
That was very helpful. That was because I love how you're being so genuine because at the end of the day, we go through life. You're right. We're busy, work, stress, wife,
Hmm.
husband, kids, and we forget about us. We forget about what's important because look, at the end of the day, all of these things fall by the wayside when you're sick. When you're when in the hospital for a week and on recovery for a week, none of that other
Yeah,
stuff even matters because your life is on the line.
right.
So it's that's the reason why I'm so big on preventative care and getting ahead of this. But I think the way you've kind of described things is going to help people to maybe identify, wait, am I at risk? Because
Yeah.
once again, I'm telling you, like from a standpoint of somebody that works with people, I was unaware of this. So I know people are unaware that they could potentially be at high risk for something like this. What would you say that your dietary habit was like leading up to this? You said you feel like you were almost 300 pounds. Like, what were you eating? How did you?
Gosh. The standard vegan diet, high carb, vegan, replacement meats,
Mm,
um, high sodium, very high sodium. So like, canned goods. And when I say high carb, like I could eat bread as a meal. I think that we all kind of like anyone that transitions into veganism, which I've been vegan before, but there's so much good vegan junk food, and it's not good. It's full of chemicals, but you think that it tastes good when you're feeding the
mm,
parasites and the worms,
yeah.
So that's kind of where I was at. If I'm being completely honest, I think I was still eating eggs and cheese at the time. I wasn't fully vegan. I know that I was not drinking any milk, but I know that I wasn't like fully transitioned at the time into
Mm.
being vegan.
That's you're just you're full of good insight. You because
Thanks.
like so many, when I very first started teaching health and wellness, veganism was like going like this. You had all these vegan channels, these documentaries, and I think on the tail end there was like some good information, but what's really leading the charge was processed foods. Like
Hmm.
that's what I mean. I remember somebody talking about Oreos were vegan, and my mind just went numb, and I'm like, wait, wait, wait. But we know Oreos aren't healthy, right? And it
Right.
was like, no, people, hey, they're vegan. Oh, they're healthy. And so people would eat whatever. And there's like a trap. So you'll hear me say very adamantly, I'm not vegan. And the reason why is because I know what that represents in our modern society. Like when people think of veganism, I know what that means. And I want to paint a different narrative. Like, we don't promote processed foods because they're dangerous, vegan or not.
Right. Vegan or not, vegan does not equal healthy.
It
And
does not.
that's plant-based on a label does not equal healthy. And that's
Unfortunately
something
not.
that I had to learn. Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way, but that does not equal healthy. Purple Doritos are vegan, but are you going to sit there and eat a whole bag of purple Doritos with all that sodium and the other chemicals that they sprinkle on there to get you addicted? Absolutely
Right.
not.
Like when people ask me for a label, I tell them whole food plant-based
Yes. Yes.
because what I've noticed, the marketers, the people that market, they don't use that verbiage, so it's like I can get away with saying whole food plant-based because it's not confusing. It's like
Right.
a whole food is a bell pepper. Plant-based means
Yes.
it's not a meat product, and so therefore people get it.
Yep.
So you said that you weren't fully on the vegan deal, but you were transitioning. What was it that caused you before you were doing the vegan thing? Were you just on like the standard American diet? And then why did you pursue the vegan diet?
I was definitely in that very sad diet. Yes,
Okay.
I was in the trenches on that diet. Oh my gosh. I used to eat a lot of cow.
Mm,
And you have to call it what it is. I feel as a plant-based person now, I can't dress it. We can't put makeup on it and call it beef. That you ate a cow.
mm.
I did. I ate plenty of them. Um, yeah, honestly, if it was fried, I loved it. Like when you're in that stage, the way that I was, I liked it cheesy, greasy, like I did. But I also, when I was transitioning, the reason why I was transitioning is because I didn't like the way that the food made me feel. I didn't feel at the time that, and maybe it's just age, but I just felt like I shouldn't be tired after I eat a meal. I don't think that that's normal. And that was kind of like my thought process behind it.
Hmm.
Um, and I did start eating more whole foods. I remember saying to my husband, "When's the last time that you ate an apple?"
That's real.
Just a, just an apple. Like you have to ask yourself these things because we're so full of everything that has an ingredient list as long as a paragraph, and what are we actually, but what is it though? I don't know what half of those ingredients are, so I shouldn't be consuming it.
That's a fact, and I don't even know if I should say this, but I did a video talking about the 15 ingredient apple because even now, when you get a whole food, you have to source it well because the apples have ingredients. If you
Hmm.
get a conventional apple, especially if it has the appeal coating, you've got tens of ingredients, if not hundreds of ingredients in your apple. And it's just so unfortunate because, it's the trap. So people kind of go through this process. They eat the standard American diet, they start feeling unwell. They're like, they see a documentary, they're like, oh, I should eat healthier. They get trapped into veganism, and then they're like, oh, they claw their way out of the veganism, and then they start eating whole food, plant-based, and there's another trap. The water's a trap, the air's a trap, the apples are a trap, and
The
that's the reason why I
lotion,
created,
the body wash,
huh?
the lotion, the body wash, it's all a trap.
Oh, oh man, the
It is
health and
all a
beauty
trap.
products, crazy. Okay, so you were conscious of the direction you were going, your health. You felt sluggish, you felt tired when you ate, which is crazy because like eating's supposed to give you energy. So it's like, how does that work? And so you made the initial change, but then you fell into that veganism trap, and of course you ended up gaining a lot of weight and also dealing with a very serious condition. So now that we kind of have a little bit of background history, let's look at what it was. You started looking online. You're like, okay, I'm trying to do the natural or the normal way, the traditional medical thing. They're not giving me any solutions. So you start Googling, you start YouTubing. How did you, what did you do? What was the next move?
So my next thought, this is after I find out that my friend has passed away, rest her soul.
Yes.
I remember that my husband introduced me to a page for Dr. Yaki
Mm.
Awaken. Just gonna throw him out there. And he is a well-known, holistic doctor. And so I started watching his videos nonstop, like 72 hours straight. I don't think I slept at all of just watching these videos. And I came up with the conclusion that he tells everyone that he gives the consultation to either eat like some sort of a mixture of fruit and vegetables
Hmm.
and juice. Every single one, no matter what it is that they're trying to heal from. But I was looking for him to help someone with heart failure.
Of course.
I must have watched every video that he has ever come out with, and he never speaks to someone with heart failure. And so something inside of me said, I can try to eat all fruit. It does not mean that this is going to work. But if it doesn't work and I'm not healed, what have I lost by eating all fruit?
Hmm.
And and I just tried it. It's crazy because I asked my husband, I told my husband, I'm going to start eating all fruit. This just so happened to be the day that we were making salmon because I also had read that salmon was good for your heart. So
Right.
we have salmon in front of us on our plate, and he was like, really? All fruit? And I'm like, yeah, like all fruit. He's like, all right, when are we going to start? Tomorrow.
You're just springing on
So
it.
tomorrow. And we started, it was May 1st, was that next day. And we went to the grocery store after we ate. We loaded up a cart full of fruit, pineapple, papaya, watermelons, lots of grapes, strawberries, blackberries, all of the berry kingdom that I could get,
Mm.
blueberries. Because as I'm, you know, now doing research at this time, I'm hearing that the berry kingdom is a regenerative fruit, and this is what I need. I need antioxidants in my blood. I'm listening to Yaqui says that you have to get as much oxygen in your blood because oxygen is healing. Hence why when I was in the hospital, they made sure that I had an oxygen mask at all times. I'm putting all of these things together myself, not knowing if any of this is going to help me.
Right.
In only 2 weeks on all fruit, and my circulation had dramatically improved.
Mm.
My sleep at night had dramatically improved. I'm no longer getting lightheaded when I go from sitting to standing. I'm no longer getting the edema in my legs where I'm just kind of filling up with water.
Hmm.
I no longer have to even wear my compression socks at all because everything is in 2 weeks. I'm just all fruit. That's only two
2 weeks.
weeks. 2 weeks. I decide to go get blood work done, and my potassium is very high. So one of the medications that I was on 5 medications now. So
Hmm.
now one of the medications that what I was on was a potassium sparing diuretic. He takes me off of it. You don't have to take that anymore. Come back and see me in 2 days. We'll see where your blood pressure is. We'll go from there. I go back. Potassium is now regulated. It's fine. And he takes me off of another one. He's like, let's just see. So this is only 2 weeks on all fruit, and I'm now
Wow.
off of two medicines.
2 out of 5 are down.
2 out of 5 is in the trash. We're
Crazy.
done. Crazy. So now my next appointment is going to be with my cardiologist. And he tells me, don't get too excited. I'm going to be the one putting your pacemaker in when you have to come back and get that done after your next echo.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
oh yeah. And I tell him I'm on an all fruit diet and I'm healing myself. He reads my EKG. This is the cleanest one you've ever had. What did you say you're doing?
Ah,
I'm eating all fruit. Like, that's it. That's all. You might want to throw in a steak at least once a week.
what?
That was his response.
This is why I get a bad rap when what?
Yeah. This is a doctor that went to school for 15 years telling me, yeah, eat a steak once a week.
Hey, this is the best EKG you've had since I've known you. You're doing fruit only. That's great, but make sure you eat your steak though. This is insanity. The delusion of the doctors, it's like it runs so deep. It's like I was literally given a year to 5 years to live a week ago. And now I'm doing something that's showing immense promise, and you're going to tell me, well, you might want to alter it a little bit. I just can't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I have one more cardiologist appointment before my updated echo. Now I'm a month into fruit. And I decided at this point, I'm going to kick it up a notch because I want to heal my body. Obviously, I'm starting to heal my gut. I feel great. I actually have more energy than I had to begin with before any of this happened. I'm now walking 3 miles a day, 2 to 3 miles every day again with no problem. Oh no, no, I'm sorry. I'm walking at this point, it was like 5 miles a day. I'm walking
Wow.
because yeah, I have about 5 miles a day that I'm walking at this point. So I thought I'm gonna kick it up a notch and I go on a juice fast.
Okay.
Um, and I focus on hydration. So watermelon juice, I'm drinking like cucumber and cilantro and celery juice. And those, I mean, I was incorporating the greens into my juices as well at this point. And I'm just trying to, again, and a lot of grape juice because I hear that grapes are astringent. And I'm learning at this point as I'm going, and I'm like, you know what I think that I need? I think that I need to pull heavy metals out of my body, and I'm thinking that I need to pull whatever mucus might still be in me or acid, because the pleural fluid that was tested that came off of my lungs was pure acid.
Mm.
Like the pH was acidic. And I'm
Okay.
like, and now as I'm learning, I'm like, well, maybe this also has something to do with my kidneys. What if this has something to do with insulin resistance? What if, I'm learning and I'm just, let's just see what I can do. So I'm drinking not enough juice, maybe 32 ounces, because I'm also still on a fluid restriction for having heart failure. So 32 ounces of juice, maybe 40. Um, and this is leading up to now my updated echo.
Okay.
But I go to the doctor and now I'm 20 pounds less also. I mean, at this point, I'm maybe 220 pounds, something like that. So
Wow.
from the hospital time to now, I've dropped, pretty much 80 pounds,
80
you might as
pounds.
well
Yeah.
say. Yeah. And we're only on in June now, so we're only 6 months into the year. 80 pounds down is really not bad. And yeah, and and the nurse is just like, "Oh, you're losing weight. That's good." And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm doing a juice fast right now." And she's like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You're not going to get all the nutrients that you need. Your body's not going to be able to heal."
Mm. You know
But
what? Go ahead.
what?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's just that was like the only time that I heard any nurse even mention or doctor mention the word healing at all, because that's what I always said that I was trying to do.
Right. Up until this point, when you asked about healing, they had nothing to say. this is so, first of all, nurses. Now, come on now. Usually the nurses are usually more in tuned. We got a ton of nurses on our channel in our community. Usually the nurses be, wanting to tell you something, but they're not allowed to because of their
Right.
their license regulations and stuff. Um, but it's like you're literally healing your body doing this thing, and they're aware of it to some degree. And they keep trying to alter. They keep trying to tell you, oh, well, this and that. It's like I'm literally trying to not pull my hat like apart right now. Go ahead. This is infuriating. Cause like, how do they go from telling you you got 1 to 5 years to live to saying, oh, good job, you lost 80 pounds, your EKG looks great, you're improving. Obviously, you're improving. You're walking 5 miles a day, but make sure to get all the nutrition you need because you're not gonna be able to heal. Like, go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. So I go for my appointment for my EKG. And I just knew that something was going to go wrong because the EKG lady actually made me feel really uncomfortable. And I was just like, please get me out of here as soon as possible. And she just was talking about things that probably shouldn't be talked about with the patient. And it was uncomfortable. And I had to then at that point schedule to get my results. So pretty much, and today is actually my 1 year anniversary of getting my updated EKG results. It was
What?
last year on June 27th that I received my EKG results. Yes.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you so much. And so I'm making my appointment and I prefer an afternoon appointment because, I work a job. And the lady is pretty much telling me either I can do June 27th or the next one is going to be July like 14th. And I'm like, what do you mean? I have to wait until the middle. Okay, whatever time you have available on June 27th, set the appointment. So I need my results like right away.
Right.
And I get there for my appointment. And now to get my results, I go in and the he comes in and he's just as shocked to read my results as I am. He's like, I think I'm reading the results of a completely different patient. I'm like, why? And he's like, your left ventricle is no longer slightly enlarged. Your ejection fraction is 55 to 60%. That of a normal, healthy adult woman.
Right.
And he's like, I was prepared to set you up for the 14th
Pacemaker
for your
appointment.
pacemaker. Right, because I'm wearing a life vest. I'm wearing a defibrillator vest still.
Hmm.
Like this entire time, they wouldn't let me even leave the hospital without having this life vest on, just in case if anything was to happen, that it would just shock me back to life.
Wow.
And he's like, so you've never gotten shocked by your vest? And I'm like, no. And he's like, and what did you say? You just ate off fruit?
Here we go.
And I'm like, yeah. And he's just like, oh, I guess I'll see you in 6 months then. If you need any refills of anything. And I'm like, I don't think I need the medication anymore. And at this point, I decided that regardless of what he said, I wasn't going to take any more medicine. I'm still supposed to technically take three of them, but
Hmm.
at this point, I decided I'm healing my body and I don't think that I need this anymore. I need to find the root cause of my high blood pressure so that I can correct that. And when I talked to him about like stopping those medications, he said, "Go ahead and stop. I trust you. You take your blood pressure a few times a day. Let's see how you feel. If anything, you can give me a call or text me, but go ahead and stop.
Okay.
Let's just see what happens." At this point, they also still want to do a cardiac catheterization, but he said he wasn't going to do it and he wouldn't recommend it at this point because he's like, I don't want to cause any damage to your kidneys. And one of the medications that I was on was a like to stop the adrenaline from going from your kidneys to your heart for your blood pressure. So
Hmm.
he said he didn't want to cause that damage to do it. And I agreed. I was going to refuse it anyway. But
Well, I'm confused. What would be
the
what what
purpose,
what would be the purpose at that point?
so the purpose of a cardiac catheterization when it comes to congestive heart failure is to get a camera inside to see what your heart actually looks like, if there's any blockages that could be causing your high blood pressure.
Hmm.
Um, but in order to do that, of course, they have to insert a small needle-like camera through your groin up into your heart. And
Ooh,
in order to get the imaging, they have to inject the dye into your veins, which,
contrast?
yes, which then
Ah,
has to, yeah, yeah.
gadolinium or whatever is in there?
Hmm. And
No.
yeah, no, I did touch on that, and I said, I don't think that that's for me. I don't think I need that.
Good,
I think
good.
I can figure out the root cause of my own.
Right. Well, they're not going to help you anyway. Like, it's not like you're
No,
the first time that they dealt with congestive heart failure. They already told you there's nothing you could do. So if
yeah.
they've done this camera on multiple people before you and ain't been able to tell them, you know what I mean? It's like, there's no point.
What would be the point? Exactly. It would be pointless.
Well, one thing I can appreciate about this part of the story is at least the doctor was in awe. Like, at least, you know what I mean? It was like, wait a minute. I got the wrong sheet. I got the wrong paper. This ain't your paperwork. Because oftentimes I find that doctors, especially depending on the amount of hubris they have and that white coat syndrome they be having, um, they'll just pretend like they'll act as if the results aren't what they are. Kind of like what he said the
Hmm.
first time. Hey, you could do your little fruit thing, but I'm gonna be putting your pacemaker in. So, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They usually double down. So I appreciate the fact that he was just like, wow, okay, never mind then, you know? So
Yeah.
you were taking the three medications up until this point, and you were wearing this jacket all this time too?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you've got this last test and you're everybody's kind of in alignment. Okay, we're gonna stop the medications. You dropped all your medications or just the blood pressure,
All of them. Yep.
all of them.
Yep.
Okay. So then tell us about your experience thereafter. What you kept doing the fruit, you kept walking. Did you well, you didn't die. You're still here. So did the
So here.
medication did you have to start taking it again? Tell me what happened
No.
after.
So after I just continue to step it up a notch. I have since incorporated eating all raw. I followed up my juice fast with a completely raw 45-day reset, which ended on my birthday last year. Followed that up with more research, learned to fast like a girl for my cycle, to start to really attack that insulin resistance, it just in case if that was the issue, which it definitely has worked. I will say that that's, and I started doing your 72 hour of fasting followed by 1 day of not fasting. So it's almost like I was in a wave of losing and gaining back the same 20 pounds with eating all fruit and eating raw and that sort of thing. Even for a few months, fell it back into the vegan trap of feeling like I'm healed, I can eat, but you cannot.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way that you absolutely cannot go back to eating fried, processed vegan food. You will not feel the way that you feel electrified when you eat all fruit or you eat
Mm,
raw. You feel like you have electricity running through your veins. The moment that you start to eat processed food, you feel like you just ate something that's dead. And that's
mm,
where your energy is. It does not feel the same. So I can't go back to that. I'm currently juicing. I'm doing
okay.
like a green juice, and pretty much just leading up to my cruise next week. I'm just doing juice.
Okay.
But
You getting
I,
ready for the cruise?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, other than that, I mean, I just continue to educate myself. I'm taking a class on holistic nutrition, and
Mm.
herbalism. Um, I do have like a smaller audience on TikTok and YouTube that I do make content, you know, just to talk about healing, to bring some awareness to it. And I even have a 21-day reset coming out in next month to just help anyone that wants to get started. Because the number one question that I get asked is like, how do you start eating all fruit?
Mm,
I didn't have a manual. I literally just bought fruit and ate whenever,
right.
whatever I wanted, whenever, breakfast, lunch. There was no structure. It was when I was hungry, this is when I ate. And then all of a sudden, my circadian rhythm started to heal. Now
Mm,
I'm only hungry when the sun is highest. Now I'm not, and it was natural. It just naturally happened. I didn't know what any of that was until I heard someone else say it. I just knew that it was happening to me. And
hmm.
that's what happens when you bring your body back to nature.
Alignment.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, so like the DNA and the energy, the natural energy that the earth the resonates, it all brings you in alignment when you still yourself and you're quiet and you stop stuffing your body with the processed stuff. And this is why I tell people all the time, we are such great healers. We like everybody who heals, they heal themselves. All right, that's the way it works. But because our bodies are so adept and they're so intelligent, society, will say the powers that be, they have to constantly bombard us with all of this nonsense in order to keep our body off balance. Because as
Hmm.
soon as you stop, you just take a breath, you drink some water, and you exhale, and you're just like, then the body will start healing instantly. And so they have to keep us in a state of fight or flight. They have to keep us busy, like you mentioned earlier, with work and, debating friends about politics and religion and all this stuff, because that's the only way to keep us sick. So
Oh, yeah.
one thing I want to highlight, because I feel like there's a unsung hero of this story. It sounds like your husband was like definitely on board, supporting you. Like what was that experience like through your eyes, his level of support and just interaction, even from friends or family? How did everybody kind of support you?
I, my husband was the reason, he was my why. When I asked myself why I wanted to heal so bad, it was because I can't see myself selfishly leaving him early. I'm
Mm,
gonna cry talking about this, but
it's all right.
from day one of all fruit, my husband was eating all fruit with me. When I started my juice fast, he was right there juice fasting with me.
Mm,
And he might have still eaten a dinner at night, but also he was not trying to heal from anything. So he did not have to eat all fruit. He did not have to, this is all preventative for him. There is nothing, he's the most healthy person I've ever met in my life. So for him to even, he made sacrifices for me. And everyone was very supportive, but everyone was very skeptical. I
mm,
can say that, very skeptical. Everyone was like, pretty much like, don't get yourself too hyped up on this because if it doesn't happen, I don't want you to be disappointed. Or I read that it's really not anything that you can do about your heart. Your heart and your brain are two things that are not going to heal once they're done, they're done. But I feel like this. I feel like as long as you still have breath, it's not too late. It is not too late to heal yourself. And if you learn about healing any soft tissue, including organs, it's the same as if you get a cut on your hand. What happens? You bleed a little bit, you put a
mm.
band-aid on it. That skin heals though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if that is a soft tissue, and just because it's the skin, but what do you have to use to make it heal? Oxygen. And
Mm,
I just started putting these things together and saying, I just have to get as much oxygen within my veins as possible so that I can give my body the environment that it needs in order to heal.
that's right. That's
And
right.
it worked. And it worked. And I feel like anybody could heal themselves of anything with that same logic.
Hmm.
You just have to have like the discipline to do it because it does take discipline at first. Everything inside of you wants to eat something else, anything else. Anything at first, it's anything else. You have to starve that feeling.
Yeah.
You have to starve those cravings, your cells remembering what that junk food is like. No, you have to starve it and you have to just continue. Whatever higher power it is that you believe in, you need to ask for the strength and the
Hmm.
patience to get through. And you get through. I did a lot of breath work. I used to do a lot of and still do lymphatic massages
Mm.
just to keep everything in alignment. It's not just healing is not A to B, you know? There's so many other parts of healing that people forget about. I think that honestly, I healed my heart and that's great. But I think the thing that I'm most proud about healing was my central nervous system.
Mm.
I think that's another thing that people forget about is, at first I was very anxious about trying to heal myself, especially finding out that my friend is gone. I was anxious about it. I wanted to do everything right then in that moment, and everything always felt like it wasn't enough. And but being able to just breathe, take some deep diaphragmatic breaths, maybe just even temperature shifting, take a cold shower and alternate to hot, that sort of thing to really reset the central nervous system. It's tea. It's the best thing.
Yeah, I can tell you've learned a lot, especially from Yaki. Like I can tell you took this extremely seriously.
Oh yeah.
This is I think what separates people from success and continuing down the path they're on is how seriously do you take this? It's like, okay, I'm in a master's program right now, you know, and the name of the class is holistic wellness. And so you take that into your own hands, you start learning it, you embody it, you create a lifestyle around what you learn. So the application of the knowledge you're gaining has to be there. And then I noticed throughout your story, you're constantly expanding, you know, because when you very first get the diagnosis, you're definitely going to be more tunnel vision. You're like, I got to reverse this thing, I got to heal. And then as you start to see benefits and now you're walking and you're doing things that you wouldn't, breath work, that's not a common thing. Like people don't say, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
regularly do breath work,
Yeah.
you know, lymphatic massages. Did you because you kind of started talking about some of these other therapies. I'm curious. Did you do herbs? What as from based on your recollection, what are some of the therapies you did? Like,
Oh, I did so many herbs. Hawthorn berries. That's one thing that I did. Hawthorn berries, juniper berries, goji berries, cocoa mecca. I was using burdock root,
mm,
um, cloves, clove water. Gosh, so many parsley juice, cilantro, juiced cilantro, just dandelion root, valerian root, everything that said it could help your heart.
yeah.
I said, I have to see for myself. I have to see how it makes me feel. I was kind of my own guinea pig. When you're in the hospital, you're a guinea pig.
Oh, for sure.
They're trying different things. They're sticking you 8 times a day. So why not be your own guinea pig with
Hmm.
herbs to try to see what can actually help you to heal from this?
Hmm.
And that's what I did.
Oof. This is I love this happy ending because what I'm seeing now is you are basically transitioning into I mean, you're already doing it, but you're continue to transition into becoming someone who helps other people, provides,
Yes.
you know, knowledge, wisdom, experience. And like you mentioned, I personally have not dealt with a lot of congestive heart failure, just like I said, older people, and usually those videos are pretty old. So, you know, it's not even something that's prominent. So I'm very grateful to have this conversation and really flesh this out because now we have a reference point, right? And I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about what you've developed. You said you've got a TikTok and a YouTube, and you've developed a program. And my assumption is you started sharing your story. You found that other people were dealing with the same thing, and you started keep teaching, coaching, and developing products and services to help people. So tell us more specifically about what it is you offer, how people can find you. If you want to elaborate on your 21-day reset, please do.
Okay, so my name across all platforms is Lena underscore the light. TikTok, well, on Facebook, it's Lena Marie, Marii. Um, but I do have a professional Lena the Light Facebook as well. But YouTube also, Lena underscore the light. So I literally I'm not exactly done with it just yet. And that's why I can't drop it yet. But I do have a 21-day detox and cleanse like fruit to get you started on your healing journey. And the reason why I chose 21 days is because I do think that you need more than 7 days. I think more than 2 weeks. I do believe that at 21 days, you'll create an actual habit, and that's what needs to happen. It includes different types of lymphatic massages to do on a daily basis, as well as breath work exercises, different ones that I've used along my journey. It also includes daily affirmations
Mm,
because that's another part of healing for me is if I just caught a glimpse of myself, and this is I never was the type of person that like loves myself like that, so when I would catch a glimpse of myself, I would smile. I would teach myself to be more full of joy when I see my reflections to pretty much tell myself, because they only know what you tell them. They don't
mm,
understand sarcasm or anything. So that it's a joy to be alive. This is a beautiful thing. I'm a beautiful person, and it was way deeper than that with the affirmations. The affirmations are not just sticking cute sticky notes on your mirror. You actually have to live them and chant them within yourself on a daily basis. Um, but it's a 21-day guide to starting your healing journey. It includes breakfast, midday snack, lunch, dinner, for every day, as well as weekly grocery lists. It's pretty intricate. I
uh-huh.
have not come up with a price point for it just yet. Again, this is coming in within the next month.
Okay.
I would say that by the end of July, it will be out there, as well as my on my website, lenadelight.com. But I just want to offer people something that they can have. This is tangible that you can, well, it will be in a PDF, or you can order a soft copy, or, but this way you have a clear outline of this is how you can start your healing journey. I do offer coaching. You can just go to my TikTok and I have information on that. If you want one-on-one coaching, absolutely. I just say, do you need the coaching? Do you need me to tell you to eat all fruit, or do you want to just watch the videos? I'm a realistic person, and I'm just not trying to make anybody feel that they have to purchase anything from me.
Hmm.
All of my information is out there. I have multiple what I eat in a day videos as a raw plant-based person. I have multiple what I eat in a day videos on all fruit. So it's like the information is there. It's just, are you going to do it? I've met a lot of people on my journey that want to heal. And when I tell them that all I did was eat all fruit, they look at me like I have 5 heads. And I'm like, I understand of what your mind thinks that a dinner is, that it's supposed to consist of a plate of a veggie, a starch, and a meat. I understand that. Cut your watermelon into a steak shape, whatever makes you feel better, but this is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, can I still eat? Insert whatever. You can eat whatever you want to eat. But how I healed is with all fruit.
Hmm.
And I can't tweak that. I don't have the research, the personal experience of what would have happened if I included vegetables in the time of that I was healing. Do I think that anything bad would have happened? Probably not. But do I think that my results would have been the same? I don't know
Mm.
because I didn't do it.
Right.
So
Ooh. Yeah. Well, I really do like the approach. You sound like you kind of sound like me, so I'm gonna help you out here.
yeah,
You you were abruptly diagnosed with a disease that would you say 90% of people don't survive, right?
right.
So you were able to, in less than a year, not only reverse that disease, get off your all your medications, but drop more than 80 pounds and improve your quality of life beyond what it was prior to.
Yeah.
So what you have to understand is you have an experience that is unique. And just the same way you were looking for Yaki to talk about working with that person with congestive heart failure, there are people out there looking for that person that can tell them what they experienced having and reversing it. So you have a
Hmm.
unique and a valuable product and experience. And the question then becomes, what did you pay your doctors for these scans and the cameras and the draining of fluid and the medications and all of that? And is what you have more valuable than that? Because that was not healing anything.
Right.
So people talk about, oh, it's insurance, da 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 da. It doesn't matter. What were they charging you for it? Right? Like if your insurance bill was $10,000, they're saying that this service that's not even going to heal you, may not even slow it down, might make you feel better in the short term, but based on your experience made you feel worse, cost
Hmm.
$10,000. Well, then what is your product worth? What is your experience worth? See, the problem is that we don't have a perspective on health and wellness. We don't value the natural healers and their wisdom the way we value a white coat's healing and wisdom because we've been programmed to say they're the pinnacle of health and wellness, but yet the
Hmm.
statistics say that death by doctor is the number three way Americans die. I don't see natural health and wellness practitioners anywhere on that list.
Mm-mm.
So it's you know for it was a struggle for me to price my consultations, to price my products and services, because I always wanted to make sure things were affordable for people. But you know, one thing I've learned, when people value something, they find the money. And I think that you have an experience and an expertise that is extremely valuable, maybe even more so for somebody who has congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
Right. So I just want to offer if you because like anytime I meet somebody who is of the same heart as me, like wants to help other people, if you need any help with pricing, finalizing product, if you want like manufacturing, whatever, you know what I mean? My doors are open and I really mean that. I've helped many people in the past because I wish I had that. I wish I had that mentorship, you know? And I know how it's a struggle because of the stigma that comes along with natural coaching, natural health and wellness, and what are your certifications? And it's all of the energy around it. It's like we're getting outcomes. So all that other stuff is just noise.
Right. Right. And when it comes to healing naturally, it's like what you don't have to have. Like, it's not illegal to practice being like a nutritionist without an actual, it's not, you're not practicing medicine,
No.
So it's like, no, like I feel the same way. And I really appreciate that. I really do. Like from the bottom of my heart. I'm over here just like beaming as you're saying because I really appreciate it, and my husband tells me this stuff all the time. Like, are you kidding me? Look at you. I just want to correct you though. I at this point have lost over 130 pounds.
I love the
And
correction.
yeah, so I'm like, let me
Can
just
I? I
put that
gotta
in
say
there.
this. I gotta say this because you brought this up. When you said, when I'm looking at you for the first time, I do my best not to do research on people I'm going to interview. I want to have this amazing, genuine connection on film. When you said that you were almost 300 pounds or over 300 pounds, I was just like, what? You're like, I'm just like 300 pounds where? I
Hmm.
never would have guessed had you not told me that.
Yep. When I got
Over
married,
130 pounds.
I was 327 pounds on the day that I married my husband, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Hmm.
yes. So you've lost over 130 pounds. You've reversed congestive heart failure. You've gotten off all your medications because you know the thing is, a lot of times people will reverse diseases, blah, 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 whatever, but then they'll still be on the medication. They'll use it as a
Yeah.
crutch because they're not
Right.
adopting a full lifestyle shift, you
Right.
know? And the problem with staying on the medication, even though all your numbers look good, is you got to understand the side effects of the medication.
Right.
So you did everything the right way. And so yeah, I'm gonna help you. As a matter of fact, I'll probably have to reach out to you, be like, look, I need you to send me what you got. Let me take a look. Let me do whatever I can do to help. And what I'll do is we'll probably put this out. When we put this out, you'll probably be ready by then. So I'll add all of the information in the description box, comment section, so that people can come check you out. And you never know who you can help. And at the end of the day, whether someone's dealing with congestive heart failure or diabetes or whatever, I know that what you teach is going to help them because you're
It's
teaching
all the
fundamentals.
same.
It's
Yeah,
all the same.
it's all the same, and it can all be healed in the same exact way, all of it. That's what I'm learning. I was pre-diabetic when I went into the hospital,
Mm,
and I can say now that I'm looking into getting like one of those like monitors for my blood sugar just for funsies,
hmm.
but I know that I'm processing everything the way that I don't have those like subtle symptoms of insulin resistance anymore, like the
Yeah.
darkness on the face and behind the neck, like all of that is gone.
Yeah. And you
So
did it with
yeah,
fruit, which is supposed to
with
be a
fruit.
no-no, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even
Oh
even
yeah,
wellness practitioners will tell you, oh, too much sugar. It's just like everybody is indoctrinated.
I swear. I just made a video about that. Fructose is not the same as glucose or sucralose or any of dextrose. It's not the same.
Makes
Fructose
sense.
actually puts the sugar where it needs to be in your cells in order for your cells to be able to heal. So if you want to heal on a cellular level, you eat tons of fruit.
Eat tons of fruit. That's our natural food.
Oh
Listen,
yeah.
this has been such a beautiful experience, enlightening, pun intended. Like I seriously, I'm so appreciative that you came and shared because, like I said, we don't have this story. We don't have this story enough. We got it now,
Oh
you
yeah.
know? So thank you for your time. And certainly, if anybody has questions, make sure to reach out to her. Make sure to, follow her on all her social media. You guys can also drop questions and stuff in the comment section because maybe we'll have her back on. If you guys have enough questions, we have you back on, maybe do something
For
else
sure.
for
All
sure.
right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, for everybody watching, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. This was an amazing call. This was an amazing interview, an amazing journey. If you guys want to see more videos like this, you already know I'm doing this day and night. Subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.